What's up, everybody? I'm Scott.
I'm Jason.
And welcome to Liquid Kernedge. What's going on, buddy?
Oh, nothing much, man. The powers of technology, I think we have solved our problems when it comes to this infernal contraption of distance. I think we've got a new technology that's going to help us record and sound good recording, too.
So you're saying we may have fixed the problems in our long-distance relationship?
How about this? The test that I've sent myself, our voices sounded as clear as if we were partying next to each other with our bottle of tequila, baby.
Oh man, those were the days, and that was only a month ago too.
God, I know. But I'm gonna see you tomorrow because I'll be up there. I'll be up there for JP's 40th birthday.
Oh, that's right. Our intern turns 40 tomorrow, and it will be 7 o'clock at the Rickety Cricket in downtown Kingman. They got us a bottle of absinthe to partake in tomorrow night, so it'll be kind of fun to do. We haven't done that in a while.
Dude, oh my God, do you remember the last time we did absinthe? Holy crap!
No.
Memorial Day weekend, baby.
That was the first time we did absinthe. It was not the last time I've played with absinthe, but it was a debacle. I do remember. This was almost 10 years ago.
Yeah. Okay. So let's just break down the story. So Dean, our buddy Dean, was down somewhere.
He went camping. He went to Colorado that weekend. He went to Colorado on a long weekend with a friend, and he was out of town. So just you, me, and Noreen. That's back when it was just the four of us.
It was just the four of us, yeah. And it was you, me, and Noreen. And Noreen had just, I think Noreen, so it wasn't 10 years ago. It was probably 6 or 7. It must have been, it must have been May of 2010 because we were not dating yet.
Yeah, it was 8 years ago or so because we went and saw what was that Prince of Persia movie.
Good movie, by the way.
Was it? 8 years later.
I like egging you, dude. I like egging you, man.
8 years later, I'm not sure it's still a good movie at all, but at any rate.
So what the prep was, we went to the movie, we were bored. Noreen was just separated in March, so because she was by herself, and she said, "Why don't we go back to the house? I have absinthe that we can do." And I said, "What's absinthe? I've never heard of it before." You had heard of it, so we were the guinea pigs. So you and I decided that, and Noreen did great. I mean, she had the absinthe, but she also had the cubes of sugar, and she had the little strainer. I mean, she had everything.
What a lot of people don't realize is that you just can't pour yourself a shot of absinthe. You have to do it the right way. You have to put the spoon over the shot. You have to put the sugar cube on top, and you have to drip water over the sugar cube to melt the cube into the absinthe, and then let it mix and sit for a second before you start partaking in it. It's actually, for the longest time, was illegal in America because it contained wormwood. So it's legal now, but to a much less potent extent that you can get in Europe.
And is wormwood bad or something, or what's wormwood?
No, it's just a hallucinogenic. Back in the 1800s, whenever 150 plus years ago, we'll say, they would serve absinthe, and it used to be called chasing the green fairy because they would say you'd hallucinate and you'd see a green fairy as you're sipping on your absinthe. And if you watch certain movies, it's very prominent, especially back in those times. Moulin Rouge, the 2001 musical, showcases it a lot. And then also at that same point in time, From Hell came out starring Johnny Depp, and I watched that last week. And I forgot that he gets his visions. It's a story about him chasing Jack the Ripper. He gets his visions about who Jack the Ripper is going to kill next while partaking in absinthe. And a lot of opium, but it showcases absinthe.
Well, whatever the process was that Noreen took, she did it to perfection because within, 45 minutes?
Yeah.
You and I decided that we were going to play an epic battle of Yahtzee together.
Yeah, and I've not played Yahtzee since. I don't think I ever played Yahtzee before that. So, and I distinctly don't remember much because I do have some in and out blackouts from the hallucinations. But I will say this: it does hallucinate you, man, because I was seeing some shit. I'm sure you did, man. If I remember right, you were pulling down your pants in the middle of the room too.
No, I didn't pull down my pants. I just whipped my penis out.
Oh, you're right. There's a difference.
And Scott, you put the bicycle or the bike helmet on because you didn't want to hit your head.
That's true. I decided sitting at the table I did have to wear a bike helmet because I felt safer wearing a helmet. It was very much a trippy night.
Well, but the funnest part of the whole night though was Noreen had some music playing, and so Noreen and I were dancing, and you and I were dancing with Noreen, and then I got to a point where I was done. I was absolutely done, and Noreen said, "Well, I started walking to her guest bedroom, and I just hit the floor.
Yeah.
And of course, you're sitting there just laughing. You thought it was so funny, ha 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 ha. And then Noreen said, Hey, you got to help him, man. You got to help him. So what'd you do? You lifted me up, and then you tripped and threw me back on the floor. Yeah, hard, by the way.
I'm sorry. You might still be a little concussed from that 8 years later, but I thought it was hilarious at the time.
God, so we're doing that for JP. Oh, man, I hope we're not doing up in the cricket's nest, man, because that's a long way down, baby.
Yeah, no, I think it might be a little bit more subdued, but it is his big 4-0 tomorrow night, so we're very happy with that. We're very excited for him. It's a new chapter in his life. So,
40 is the new 40. Really?
They say that's so profound. they say 40,
no, it's probably like a 30. It's probably a 30.
Yeah, they say 40 is the new 30, and I'm not sure I believe that bullshit. But if you feel 30 when you're 40, that's probably pretty good. But you know what? When you're turning 40, though, it's like another turning of a page, another starting of a chapter where you can experience new things and try new things because people see you as a little bit older and more mature, Well, and also I think the things that a 40-year-old likes is different than what a 30-year-old likes, in terms of activities and stuff. Dude, I got to tell you. What?
I took and in my little apartment complex, they offered a free West Coast swing class.
What?
West Coast swing, and Noreen and I took it.
Stop there.
Stop the presses, baby.
West Coast swing class.
It's West Coast swing class. So basically,
what's the difference between West Coast and East Coast swing class?
Now that I don't know, but I think that there is there's a distinction between like a jive and a West Coast swing. I'm not sure what the distinction is, but anyways, it was a lot of fun. We had a good time, and all I thought about is, wow, Scott, this is a way you could get in touch with yourself.
I have a lot of questions about this swing class, West Coast swing class. So do you swing to like Dre and Snoop and Tupac? And if it was East Coast, would you only be like Jay-Z and Biggie Smalls?
Now, that's funny that you asked that because they said that this dance, you can pretty much dance anywhere. So any kind of song, yeah. And if you go on YouTube, just type in improv West Coast swing. Okay. If you type that in, you should see some of these competitors. The guy randomly takes a piece of paper with a girl's name, and they just have to dance. And they play 2 songs for these people, and you should see some of the dances. Now, Noreen and I haven't gotten to that point yet because, obviously I'm a hindrance to Noreen, and so, she has to, she kind of has to slow down a little bit for me.
Yeah. Well, the upside is I guess I can Google that and see what it is, and it'll throw the FBI off of what I normally Google. So
yeah, definitely want to take off the child porn and how to build a bomb with what do you call that? How to build a bomb with a bunch of shrapnel and stuff.
Yeah, that's
wow. If I just gotten you in trouble, I'm sorry, dude. I feel bad.
Yeah.
I hope it doesn't. I hope it doesn't impact our recordings because they mean so much to me. You know that.
Well, now Liquid Kernedge is definitely being recorded by the government, so thank you very much.
That's right. But with
terrible fortune to a joke on a Thursday night.
But hey, how important though is we have a guy who's turning 40, turning a new corner, a new page in his life. You got me going out and trying to learn how to West Coast swing and dance. How much of our lives now change when we get these big dates like this? Like I just moved down to Phoenix, and now I'm trying to do new things. And JP's turning 40. Hopefully, he'll be doing some new things. I mean, is there ever a point where you just say, you know what, I'm content with where I am. I'm not going to get any better. I'm just going to keep going, and that's it.
I think it goes in phases, to be honest with you. I think there are certain points in your life you feel like you've accomplished everything you want to accomplish right there. So you take the time and breathe and enjoy your surroundings. And then there's other times, like right now, I think everyone's in a phase where they're just trying to expand the horizons. We're all in new waters. We're all trying to find that next step of who and what we are, especially for the brand new year, because it feels like January's freaking took forever. And we had a lot of time to experiment with trying to find new hobbies and start new processes for the year,
Yeah. Yeah. Have you, when was the last time that you were in this particular situation where I'm trying new things? I don't even care, if it's content or if it's part of my life, I'm going to go through new areas in my life and just try something new.
I think I go through it every few months. I don't sit idle very well. I mean, I like my routines. I like knowing what I'm doing. I like coming and going, knowing that what days I'm in the gym, what times I have to be at work, what appointments are when. But as far as like, personal things, there are, I try to mix it up every couple months just to see what else is out there. New hikes, new ways of cooking, new supplement programs for the gym, things like that. You have to keep it interesting.
Yeah, well, and I think there's a fine balance between keeping it interesting and then it just constantly wanting to be in a state of change.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, I've got to do this. Oh, I've got to try this. Okay, I'm going to go in this direction. Oh, I'm going to go in this direction. That I'm sure that Noreen loves probably 94 to 98% of me. But one of the things that she complains about is that I'm never satisfied with just being.
Yeah.
I'm always trying to do something like, oh, okay, I've got to write a note to someone today, or I've got to read 10 pages in a book today, or, oh, I've got to try to learn West Coast swing, or, oh, I've got to try to, fit a walk in or I'm always constantly going. And I know that for her, sometimes it probably drives her absolutely batty.
Do you ever think that maybe you just need to find balance? That maybe it's okay to sit on the couch one day and just relax?
I find it tough. I really find it tough. Like, I find it very difficult to say, okay, I'm just going to sit today. Like, for example, you ever been on vacation?
Once or twice.
Once or twice. You ever been to a beach?
Yes.
Okay. Some people are the type of people that they can sit on a beach, sit there all day.
Yeah.
They don't move. They read a book. They get in the sun. They don't. And I have a tough time doing that.
No, I can't do that either.
I have a really tough time doing that. I've
got to be playing in the water. I've got to be running up and down, playing frisbee football. Take advantage of the weather while you have it and the situation while you have it.
And it's just I'm like you. I'm totally like, okay, I've sat here for an hour. I'm ready to do something else.
Yeah.
That being said, some people just love that content. I'm not doing anything. I'm just letting the waves hit my feet, or I'm letting the wind.
We've taken vacations before together, and especially when we've been down in Temecula in the wine country and Oceanside and whatnot. And there's been plenty of times where we've gone down to the beach the entire day, but all of us were pretty active. And then there's days where we just hung around the condo, playing golf or whatever else. And very few times has it ever been where someone's just sitting in the room relaxing, or sitting out on the porch, or sitting by the pool. I think we're all very active people by nature.
Yeah, well, and I think that the hard part is that some people can thrive on I just want to relax. I don't want to do anything. I don't want to think too hard. I don't want to have to be on a schedule. If I want to get up at 12 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm going to get up at 12 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And some people really enjoy that, and they may even live their lives like that. Like, this one thing I do love about Noreen is that she's never been one of those type of people that says, I've got to make $1 million. I just have to make $1 million, or I've got to put all my work into my career and I'm going to make $1 million and I'm going to be successful. She's always had the thought, I got a job, I did a good job at it, and then I moved up to the next job, and I moved up to the next job. I didn't do anything. I wasn't like on a career path. The path just kind of was under my feet when I took the next step, and I just kept going. Now she's very successful and doing a great job at her company, and she's the vice president of operations there. And yet, if you were to look back and say, what did she do? What were her steps? What career path that she chose? She didn't. She didn't have a career path like that. Me, okay, I'm going to get this skill set. I'm going to try to do this. I'm going to get this experience. So then I'm ready to move up to the next part. Okay, then I'm going to get this experience. I'm going to go to college and get this. You know what I mean? It's like there are some people that thrive and need to be changing, constantly growing.
Let's not misunderstate the fact that you're very pragmatic when it comes to that, though, too. You understand what it is you need to do and what you want to do to advance and move yourself up. So it's important for you to be able to go out there and take those steps and do that. Some of us, me, speaking specifically about myself, I just kind of live life when it comes to work, man, and I take it at its own pace. I'll do a job till I find something else, and if something else pops along and it sounds like a good opportunity, I'll do it.
It's worked for Noreen. It's worked for you. I mean, you guys both have very successful careers.
Yeah. Yeah. And, my mom's always gone back and said, well, if you ever actually fully applied yourself, you could do anything you want in this world. And that's not to say I haven't fully applied myself, because there's a lot of things I've had to put a lot of time and effort into to achieve some of the things I've gotten. But I've never really been that interested in like work. I know I have to do it, so I do it, I do it well. But it's not. I don't live to work, man. And I've always said I work to live. I do my 40 and I'm out. There's other things I want to do, like pursuing this podcast, CrossFit, learning how to cook different things, exploring other areas, spending time with friends and family. Those are the things that I find more important, and I'm always trying to expand my horizons with. And work is just kind of I do it because I have to, and if I get really good at it, then I try to find other ways to keep it, challenging for me.
I've been amazed at some of the people I've met who are so good at their work because they put every single ounce into their work. And they're the most knowledgeable people. They're, extremely talented. But like you said, that balance, where is that balance? When it comes to work and life and trying to make sure that I'm good enough where I am. I'm content with where I am, but balancing, but I can always get better. And here's how I want to get better.
Yeah, and I guess I've got a hard time with myself personally looking at like my job and saying, what else do I need to do to be better? Because I've done my job for going on 9 years now. It's evolved into what it is today. So I feel like after 9 years, I've got everything pretty much down to, a solid science. And it takes a lot of the headache of trying to figure out what the best way of doing certain things are,
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Like, there's certain things that you just know I'm going to do this every day. I mean, that I'm content. I don't need to worry about being better at whatever that is. Do you have anything in mind in particular? You said, at this point in my life, this part of my life is where I want it. I don't want to change it. I don't want to improve it. I just love it.
I don't think there's any point of my life right now. Well, I like where I live. I like my house. I like my dogs. But I can't sit here and say, aside from that I'm content with every other aspect of my life. I'd like to find a way to keep improving it, trying to find that next step to, build deeper relationships or find something that's going to challenge me more professionally or even socially out here, whether it be, working with, another group or, some more charity work out in the community, just something that's going to keep my attention and keep me focused and going forward.
I'm like you. I have to constantly look at everything I'm doing and ask myself, could I be doing more? Could I be doing more?
Well, there's also should I be doing more? Like, I don't know if this is all I need to do. Did I just get it done because it's that efficient, or did I just completely misunderstand the instructions? So I only half-assed it, not knowing that I could have gone a whole lot more.
But don't you think that our society it leans toward, you have to be getting better, because if you're not moving, you're standing still, and if you're standing still, then you're going to get left behind. I mean, it seems to me that that's kind of the mindset that's prevalent, maybe it's in the United States.
I don't believe that at all. I don't believe that at all. I believe that we are in a society of millennials that expect everything to be handed to them. And
wow, I don't know. I know like kids that are Ricky's age, like 25 to 30.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, really. I mean, they stay at a job for 2 years. I have one friend in particular. I mean, they stay at a job for 2 years. If they decide that they're not happy and they don't think they're getting valued, they purposely go look for something else. And they just know for a fact that they're going to get a 20% raise when they move on to that new job. And when you ask them, well, why do you want to move? All they can say is, well, because I feel like I deserve more. I learned this. I'm ready to get some more. And it's like, man almighty. I mean, my last job at the hospital, I stayed 8 years. Mm-hmm. Longest job I've ever had. But there were some perks to being content with where you're at.
Mm-hmm.
That are kind of a nice feeling. But I'm sure a lot of people said, oh, you didn't move up in 8 years? Oh, well, you're just the big loser.
Well, I think you might see the one or two out there, millennials out there, that are the exception to that are willing to go out there and work for what they have. But a lot of them that I've seen and I've dealt with expect it to be done for them and hurry up and give me the free stuff I deserve.
Well, and you mentioned your mom, and my parents were the same way. I mean, my parents were the type of people that when I was first out of college, I got a job at the Boeing company, huge company, and really their expectation when I first got that job was, oh, he's set for life. He'll have this job 40 years. The stability of that job. And then you look at nowadays, most companies don't even offer a pension. Why? Because most people don't even stay long enough to get a pension. Most people don't stay long enough to get their pension through the work that they go to.
If you mentioned the fact of even trying to find another job, another career to my parents, both of them freak out. My mom's convinced that no other company has as good of insurance as the hospital has. Not to say the hospital has bad insurance. It's got, fairly good insurance for the area, but, God forbid you stick your foot out there and see what else you could find that might better you in other areas. And I've told her flat out, based on what I've learned working in the medical field, insurance is subjective. It's good to have, but if I can only have to pay back $20 a month for the rest of my life, well, hey, guess what? Just keep on adding it to the bill.
Yeah, that's a good point. The voice of doubt and the voice of regret is in everyone's ear at all times. Some people can turn that voice down. Some people can maybe even turn the voice off. But most people can go through life, and even if they've had a great life, they can look back and say, "Man, I wish I wouldn't have done this when I had that moment of clarity to do something and I didn't do it. I regret that."
Yeah.
The
regrets I have very little to do with anything professionally. I'm doing what I went to school for. I'm very good at what I do. I understand people. I'm a people person. I can read a room, and I know how to deal with people, of all different kinds, shapes, and sizes. But I'll be honest, I've done it long enough, going on 15 years. I'm getting bored with it, so I'm ready for another challenge to see how I can help those, how I can, find the next avenue of creativity, professionally when it comes to dealing with people. And
I'm sure that there are other people that we know that when you got to 15 years of doing the same thing again and again and again, you're perfectly content. I'm perfectly content. I know what I'm doing. I'm skilled at what I do. I'm very talented at what I do. You know what I mean? Like that they have that different mindset to say, why change a good thing? Why change a good thing? Like your dad. You said your dad could have moved up in the ranks, but chose not to just because that was not his path.
Well, no, financially, he figured out that if he promoted anymore, he went to salary. He lost all his overtime. So raising two boys and having bills, does it make sense to go to a straight paycheck where you know what it's going to be, or be able to keep all that overtime and make more than the boss because you know how to work the system?
Right. There you go.
You got to think outside the box in a lot of ways to make sure you're advancing yourself. And he worked in a job where there was a pension. He worked for the state as a highway patrolman, so he knew what he had to do to make sure he got the retirement he wanted to get. And that job, I have to imagine, changes daily. Even though the routines stay the same, the results are always going to be different based on who you pull over or what criminal activity is going on,
Yeah. So if you were looking at your life and where you're at right now, do you have an image of what like a content, perfect life would look like?
I don't anymore. I used to think I did.
Yeah. What did it used to look like, Scotty?
Well, what's you married, kids, 2.3 dogs, a house with a white picket fence.
Boy, that's a dream too, man. A lot of people have that dream.
Yeah. Life doesn't happen like that anymore. People don't stay married. People don't stay in jobs. Most people can't afford a house because the way the housing market's going, and however you get 0.3 dogs is beyond me. That freaks me out.
Well, you have to, you keep one of them that's in one of those little rolly wheelchairs. You've experienced that. You've experienced that. You had a dog that was in one of those rolly wheelchairs for the dogs and stuff.
Yeah. Get the handicap dog. That's what everyone wants.
Yeah, well, and like I said, everyone's a little different. For me, being content, I don't have an image of it. I guess some of my life is pretty good. Like, I'm content with Noreen. And I feel good about where we are as a couple. So that's a security, I guess. And maybe what our life should be aimed at doing is building steps of the security, content feelings about things in our life, so that we can then go up a little higher and reach a little higher for the things that we want to go after, but we have those levels of content that kind of are our foundation.
Yeah, well, I think contentment changes. I think since you're content with Noreen, that doesn't change the fact you both have mutual goals you want to achieve together. You can be content in your relationship knowing that you've got the love and you've got the trust and the ability to do all these things, but it doesn't change the fact that you still have a drive to see the world, to be able to retire at a certain age, and you have common goals you can use to working together, you know?
Right, yeah. And whether you want to get by constantly reinventing yourself and trying to grow and be better and be better and be better and be better, or if you're going to say, no, I'm going to stay the stable course, stay the path, there's definitely something to be said on both sides.
Absolutely.
I'd be interested to hear what Tom's take on this is what his, if he's constantly grow, or is he just stable, walk the course and go?
I think he's very methodical.
Yeah.
Knowing him. He won't tell you what he's doing until he's already done it. That's been a family frustration for a very long time. Because as a family, we don't talk that much to each other about personal things or whatever else. Sure. He just kind of tells everybody after the fact. So I would say he's probably content in some areas, but he's very driven in other areas, and he's a hybrid of the two.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I remember my dad told me a story once when I was probably a senior in high school. We were on a hunting trip, in Alaska. When you go hunting, if you don't get anything, it becomes a camping trip. So we went on a lot of camping trips. Okay, we went on a lot of camping trips. But one time we were sitting around the fire one night and just talking, and he was telling me a story. He had a really good close friend up in Juneau who was a Alaska State Trooper. Very successful. He had just retired with a very nice pension. His girl, he had 4 daughters. All 4 of them graduated and moved on with their lives and were doing well. And his wife had just passed away from cancer. So my dad was telling me the story that they were talking one night during this time, and my dad was one of these guys that basically his retirement plan was that a bag of money was going to come out of a drug cartel plane and land in his backyard. That was his planning.
The D.B. Cooper method.
The D.B. Cooper method, right? And he had made the comment one time. He goes, "You know what? I wish I could have lived your life, because look at you now. You have, your daughters are all taken care of, and your house is paid for, and you've got all this stability from just a methodical 27-year career in the state troopers." Mm-hmm. And the gentleman looked back at my dad and he said, "You know what, though? I envy your life." And my dad's looking around like, "I got nothing. I mean, I don't have any money." Noreen, my wife, Linda, my mom, she's the breadwinner, so I don't even have a job. And why would you want to live my life? Mm-hmm. And the guy answered, because you have all the stories of living without a care in the world, and you have all the stories of going off to exotic places and not caring whether or not the dollars were going to be there, or not caring whether or not, you just kind of lived your own path.
I think it goes back to everyone's always going to think the grass is greener on the other side.
Yeah. That's right.
You have to be okay with you. You have to be okay with doing the things that you are doing. And if you're not okay with the things you are doing, it's up to you to change those things,
Well, and, maybe this is the message that comes from this is we can't compare how you live your life to the way I live my life. Mm-hmm. So much of it, one of the things that's so difficult right now is if you don't think like me, then you're a loser, or you're a creep, or, however the dynamic of personal relations are, especially on the federal level, mm-hmm. that if you don't believe everything that I say and you don't do everything the way I would do it, then you're a total creep, you're a total bad person. Maybe like you just said, I mean, you live your life the way you live it. I live it the way I live it. Ultimately, you don't need to live like me to be a success, and I don't need to live like you to be a success. You know, we can live like however we want to live, and if that means that I'm constantly changing my hair color and changing my clothes and constantly, you know, quitting jobs and starting new jobs, if that works for you, great.
So what I'm hearing is, just to kind of bring this conversation to a full circle.
Okay.
It's just be okay being you, and don't worry about what everyone else is doing. You know, if you like what's going on in your world, you don't have to worry about what everyone else thinks is going on in your world, because you're good doing you. We don't all move at the same pace. We don't all move at the same fervent need for success and accountability and what's the other word I'm looking for? People to praise you for what you're doing. And
we definitely don't need to compare. Yeah. Like, I don't need to compare that, oh, you know, Scott, you have a house, I don't have a house, so I'm a loser, you're the great. Hey, it's a different life. It's not a different, it's not a better life. And, you know, so.
We chose different paths to get here, and that's what happens, you know. But at the end of the day, we're still Scott and Jason Liquid Kernedge.
That's right, baby. And how nice is it going to be for our buddy, JP, to listen to this podcast the day before he turns 40?
Absolutely.
And he'll be able, we'll give him these pearls of wisdom on Liquid Kernedge.
And you know, I'll tell you what, this might be the last time he hears your voice, because after what you said earlier, the FBI might come down to Scottsdale and put you at some black hole site somewhere.
That's true. I'll have to use my, you know what, it's okay, because we get 30-second phone calls in prison, so I'll just use we'll just do a 30-second episode. We'll record one a day for 30 seconds at a time until we get up to 100 days. We'll get us 100 minutes or whatever, and we'll be good. So
Or 50 minutes. Thank God you're in IT, not math.
I didn't do that right, did I? Man.
So with that, man, hey, we'll go ahead and say happy birthday to our intern, JP, even though it's a day early. And if you listen to this over the weekend, you missed a great party. Maybe you'll catch the next 40th birthday, which I think is going to be mine here in 3 years. So,
3 years, baby.
Because I count out. The doomsday clock is counting.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Well, hey, Tom's going to be having a birthday year, right?
Oh, yeah, not till April. And he's got 1 year till 40, so he's the big 39 this year.
He's going to be 39 this year, yeah. We'll definitely have to start planning his party. That'd be fun. Yeah,
and I'll be down there around that time for the Pat Tillman run and U-Fest down in Phoenix. So that's Five Finger Death Punch that weekend. I believe you're going on a cruise.
Yeah, one of our friends is getting married on the cruise, so we're going on a wedding cruise with Brittany and Adam are getting married. So
that'd be fun for them.
You know what? You know, you get content. Might as well lock it into a long-term contract. You know.
That's it. Get them while you can.
Yeah, for the rest of us, we just have to chill, you know, be ourselves. Hope a woman doesn't, you know, throw us out of bed for eating crackers, and, you know, we'll move on with our lives.
Absolutely.
Hey, I'd be interested to hear you guys' thoughts on this one. So go to @Liquid Kernedge on Twitter, Facebook, is it @Liquid Kernedge EP?
If you want to talk to Tom, or if you want to talk to Tom,
yeah,
our executive producer, it is Liquid Kernedge _EP.
Oh, very good. Okay.
We did post a picture of him on Instagram last week and Facebook, trying to get people to get an idea of what Tom looks like, and that's what he looks like all the time with face pawing himself, having listed us every week. But he does this out of choice, and I think out of the love of the game.
Hey, and what better executive producer could we have? Really, I mean, that's the kind of executive producer. He's the executive producer that is dedicated to the premise that all podcasts are not created equal, man.
Well, for what we pay him, we can't get much better. So
that's true. He has a really nice truck. That's
plus the other side is he kind of just gave himself this job. We never asked for the notes. He just kind of started from day one.
Hey, shut up. I don't want him to stop giving me notes, man. How do you think I've gotten better over the last 38 weeks?
We've gotten better because he's given us the notes. I'm not saying stop. I'm just saying he took it upon himself to give him this job. That's dedication. Wow. That's the drive I'm talking about.
I love it, man. I love it.
So anyway, like you
good
said,
episode, baby. I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, good episode. So check us out, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all @Liquid Kernedge. Check out Tom on Twitter, Liquid Kernedge _EP. Jason, it's been a pleasure. I'll see you tomorrow night, buddy.
Hey, we'll talk to you tomorrow night. JP, big happy birthday from us, and go ahead and sign us off, Scotty.
And if you never quite know what to say, go ahead and have yourself some Liquid Kernedge.